you got to preach all the time.
Right.
If necessary, sometimes you have to use words.
Right.
And that's where I think most martial artists, including myself, didn't get that part. So we started preaching or acting and doing all this stuff, and I didn't have anything to back it up.
You just said an important thing. You said including yourself.
Oh yeah, by far.
All right, this story with Sensei is going to be is a little personal for me, or dear to me, because it really certainly impacted my life even beyond martial arts. And I want to talk about the Karate Kid. So I'm back east. I am so far from LA and Hollywood. I've never been here. I'm a kid. I'm at the beach for the summer at my grandparents' house, and the Karate Kid was a big deal. We're all standing on the beach, doing the crane and doing the kicks. And it kind of like, for me and my martial arts journey, and I think I was already doing martial arts, but it really was like, wow, martial arts. It's almost like, it is like the movie was like that much of an impact for kids our age. And I was thinking how far away California was, because it takes place in Reseda. Like right where essentially in the area that you were and are, and we are right now. Fascinatingly. And that, so the movie itself sat in this place far away, but the idea of karate and the tournaments and the hard karate and the soft karate and wax on and wax off just had this massive impression. But you're here and you're studying martial arts and you're around this. I'd love to hear what that did, or what your memories of that time were. Did martial arts explode here, or was it not as big a deal? It's because I was far away. Did it change things?
Absolutely. I think the Karate Kid, looking back at history, was one of the biggest ways that people start just coming to martial arts.
Growth, even.
But kids market.
Okay.
A teens market, because he opened, before it was mainly adult market, and it was not as well known. But when the Karate Kid came out, we had waiting lists, and the kids classes were opening up, and, more karate schools were opening up. But I remember when they were filming, there was a gentleman who was in charge of their, Jerry Fisher, I never forget. He was in charge of the tournaments. He was doing tournaments, different parts of California, to get all the champions, and then they would have the final one in Cal State Northridge.
Wow!
And that's when the fight scenes were filmed at Cal State Northridge.
Interesting.
So all the grand champions from different tournaments showed up there for the last, so they could do some of the scenes and stuff together. I knew a lot of people that were involved in making it. A lot of martial artists, wonderful people. Karate Kid did so well, so good for our industry. Was one of the the best things. But it had a couple negative things, in my opinion.
Okay.
One of them was he made what I call the Miyagi syndrome.
Miyagi syndrome.
Yeah, because he made students, the teachers, to become bigger than what they are. So they started puffing up and acting up, and talking about life lessons, kind of like what I'm doing right now. But it's funny. But you know what I mean? It kind of made us feel like we're responsible to teach life skills and
right.
All this stuff. And all that stuff is great after you've done what you're supposed to do, which is the physical art.
Right.
You learn the lesson through the physical training.
Right.
So what happened was, and this is what I call the extra syndrome, a lot of people try to do always extra stuff. Relationships, whatever. But what's the definition of extra? After you've done what you're supposed to do, you do extra stuff. A lot of people don't do what they're supposed to do, but they love extra stuff.
Right, right.
So the Karate Kid opened up this, I'm going to have this brand of uniform because they wore it, I'm going to have a little miniature tree on my uniform.
Right.
The logo became more important. Then the bow became really important. Then which school are you from, versus this school, soft versus hard, and all this stuff. So it brought all these conversations, and they missed the heavenly glory of the thing about the Karate Kid was what he was talking about was having peace.
Yeah.
To, the idea of the Eastern philosophy as being in the moment,
Yeah.
simplicity.
Yeah.
That's what they were talking about. But, Pat Morita himself, if you watch his documentary, he was never him. He was actually an alcoholic.
Yeah.
It was bad alcoholic who died because of it. You know what I mean? So
he brought the Miyagi syndrome thing, though. I think if they explore that, it's the idea of this mystical, this idea that instead of teaching, now I'm going to bring so much more. I'm going to change your world. Is that what you're getting to?
And mystique sells.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of people I know personally who are like, well, if you do this, and I'm going to teach you some of the secret, secret techniques, or whatever. They sell mystical stuff, you know what I mean? And to me, there's nothing in martial arts that's mystical. There's no mystique about it. It's principle based, you know what I mean? Just like and he started this whole thing about doing incredible things, and like kung fu series, lifting with things, or doing push-ups with your tongue, or that's stuff that. So it got away from reality of combat.
Got it.
And that's where Karate Kid took it way to the other side, and I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what it is. And some people could be able, could control it, but some people just took it way too far,
right.
But I think overall it was a great thing. As far as our industry brought, the kids and stuff like that. But you got to preach all the time.
Right.
If necessary, sometimes you have to use words.
Right.
And that's where I think most martial artists, including myself, didn't get that part. So we started preaching or acting and doing all this stuff, and I didn't have anything to back it up.
You just said an important thing. You said including yourself.
Oh yeah, by far, by making myself. But so I learned how to say I don't know.
Right.
Like if somebody would say, "Sir, you know 3 sectional staff?" Like, I'm sorry, I don't. Before I used to say, of course, it's just like a nunchuck, but it's 3 sections. Yeah, I used to do that when I used to walk to school in snow, whatever. So these little things started popping up versus being vulnerable as a teacher to say, no, I don't know. I don't know Kung Fu.
Right.
Instead of making something up like, oh, Kung Fu is just like what we do, but softer. Are you serious? Like, is this are we insulting other martial artists?
Yeah.
Martial arts,
Yeah.
So we stopped this master thing. People started forgetting, including myself, that I'm there to serve people, right? So I think that's one of the things that I didn't like about the Karate Kid.
Right.
But with all that, there's so much good about it.
Right.
But I think like anything else, the first one was great. The second, third, fourth one, whatever.
Right.
It came down to whatever
of
it
course.
is. But the idea of it was great.
I think certainly as I set it up, like a young kid far away from here who loves movies is in the business too, right?
Yeah.
It affected me. But I also think looking back, this is where I was getting at, is that there might be martial arts in the country were fairly young. I didn't know that at the time. We're only 25, 30 years in, I believe, in the country with real martial arts. So it's fairly young. And I think there might be a real impact there from that movie in the journey of martial arts, particularly in this country.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. How many people were doing the jumping kicks?
Oh. I think the jump front kick, the whole Miyagi jump front kick thing became, they all thought that's it, that's how you do it, But it's the most telegraphing move in the world. I mean, if you start by jump front kick fighting someone, if you've trained, that's, it's like somebody saying, here's a punch coming from Oklahoma,